After my first dose of the antidote, I know how to save our craft from AI. I'm hard at work with Dr. Pulpenstein. Gotta run. Hey, fellas. I'm gonna save the craft of comic books.
What happened to your righteous outfit, man? You don't look so good.
Yeah, Jim's right. You look like shit.
AI is everywhere. This is very bad. Shawn is sicker than I thought. The craft is suffering severely. Where's my magnifying glass? Generative AI, digital shortcuts, struggling publishers are all making our craft sick, making Shawn sick. There's my magnifying glass. I am hard at work on the second dose of the antidote to help Shawn fix our craft, but he needs your help. Get the anti-AI art book. The antidote for all that ails our craft. Inkpulp Cyan is a book about our craft and the art of Shawn Crystal. Most art books are simply a presentation of that artist's artwork. But Inkpulp Cyan is a book about process, thoughts, and work that goes into every single piece Shawn creates. It is a completely unique take on the art book. It is the antidote for all that ails the craft. This 10-inch by 10-inch hardcover will set the new standard for all art books to come. Grab a copy now. This is the Inkpulp podcast. So today, welcome everybody. Today we got a very good friend of ours and special guest. And whenever he's here, it's a real treat. We got Skottie Young joining us today.
Thank you.
Welcome back, brother.
Thank you, dude. It was good to see you guys.
Skottie,
Absolutely.
I'm actually
Hi, buddy.
in your
Hi, neighbor.
I'm in your backyard right now. This is just a blue screen
You're in my
projection. I'm actually just right behind you right now. Creeping.
Yeah.
So as you guys were talking before we started recording, there's a pretty big like comic book artist / writers community over there in KC. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has become quite the hub of. It used to be like when I was in Chicago, there was a lot as well. But because of the art school here, I think that there's a big creative community here, and a lot of writers. I mean, there's a decent amount of artists, but there seem to be a lot of writers in this area and the surrounding towns.
Yeah. And also, man, Hallmark being here.
Right.
Hallmark's world headquarters is here. So, I mean, dating back to like the 70s, 80s, like there were so many illustrators here working full time at Hallmark. And when I was in art school in the 90s, Hallmark would recruit directly out of art school. So even like Mike Huddleston was freelancing when he graduated from the Art Institute, working for DC for a bit. But when that work dried up, he actually went and worked at Hallmark full time for a couple years. And that's where he learned all of his like digital chops. Like he learned how to take his painting style that he was doing analog and do it digital. So he basically got paid to do art school part 2 at Hallmark. And I think a lot of artists did that.
You said this is after he got work in comics?
Yeah. Like he did almost a full year as monthly penciler on Deathstroke, the Terminator. But his book was butchered every month by a terrible inker. And
was this before or after the coffin?
Before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And pardon my ignorance, but what's Hallmark?
It's one of the largest greeting card companies in
greeting cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, like happy birthday, happy Mother's Day, all that.
Matteo, back when people would actually buy greeting cards. But then Hallmark expanded and started making like gift wrapping and party favors, anything that was paper, birthday party treats.
Also like Christmas ornaments. And,
there you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Shit that like
Skottie's
suburban moms
so happy.
buy. You know,
Skottie's thrilled that he came on the show to discuss the early years of Mike Huddleston's career
and the history of Hallmark.
totally.
Yeah, basically the two segments for today. We're gonna do like half an hour about Mike Alderson and the other half on Hallmark.
I
So
like it. I'm in.
Yeah.
It makes my job easy.
Actually, Skottie, as you know, we talk a lot about like building your businesses and stuff on the show. You've built quite the incredible, do I dare say, empire, but you've got a really nice operating business going. How many employees do you got?
we slightly touched it. Sorry to interrupt, Skottie, but
good.
we slightly touched it on the previous episode because you had recently, it was already a year or two probably that you funded Stupid Fresh Mess, but we didn't have the chance, we went over an hour, so we didn't have a chance to go deeper into that. So what's, Stupid Fresh Mess?
Yeah, so we do a little of everything now. As far as employees go, we have Megan here, who's here every day and running the show, and then John Young, who runs the shipping department. We've had various kind of part timers that come in a couple days a week and help bag and board and stamp boxes, and if we have a big launch, just a little bit of everything, kind of a catch-all situation. We get our kids involved every now and then, bagging and boarding. You pay them a little bit, and then we have like the road team as well, like for conventions and stuff, that we have a handful of people that we can kind of go through. John goes sometimes. Our buddy Skeff comes to different shows. My old buddy Drew comes out, and so it's like we have 3 in-house every day, me, Megan, and John, and then we got a handful of kind of rotation outside of that, and that also includes creative. We have people doing colors for this or design for that, or so we kind of have a little bit of that going on. And as far as what we do here at Stupid Fresh Mess, obviously I come in here and try to make cool stuff, and then we do a lot of exclusive covers that we of our choosing. What a book comes out, or Girl Scouts comes out, or hopefully when your book comes out, we'll definitely do one for yours, because I need to be attached to that beautiful fucking thing.
Awesome. Thanks.
So we do exclusive covers and then sell those signed and unsigned and ship those out. We do this year we're trying to get back into a lot more kind of creatively driven product instead of just exclusives. Not that that's all we've done, but we've scaled back on prints over the last year or two. We want to focus more on art driven screen prints. 4 or 5 color high end, really limited edition screen prints. We're doing some socks. We're creating some
Nice.
I hate Fairyland socks and some Stupid Fresh Mess socks we've got in production right now.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hats. We're gonna do like some kind of like limited time run drops, like custom, like pre-order drops for t-shirts and stuff. Obviously t-shirts are a fucking nightmare if you try to really go into the apparel game, because you've got to keep inventory of so much shit. But we know that that's not where our business is going to, like explode, but it's still it's that old school hip hop show.
Yeah.
Like, punk rock show thing in me that's like, I gotta have a shirt.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You can't let it go. So we're a little bit of everything. And as we move forward in this coming year, we've been really inspired by you guys and Jim and the Kickstarter movement and things like that. So, my next project, which I'm working on now, Boy at the End, we're really thinking about kickstarting that and doing a lot more in-house production and self-publishing that way as well.
Yeah, dude, I'm
awesome,
stoked to see you. If that's the route you choose, like, I'm really excited to see how that will go. I think it's a guaranteed winner for you. Obviously, I think you'll crush it.
Oh yeah.
Thanks,
and I think you'll really enjoy the process of like having your hands on every aspect of the project. It's what we were doing in the 90s. It's what we were doing. We were making our own minis and zines, and it's just, It's the grassroots shit, man. It's
Right.
It's
And that's
in
what
all of us. It's in all of us, you know.
And that's what I feel. I mean, even having, the company now for 5 years, a little over 5 years, feeling that thing where we have an idea, we produce it, we put it out there. I get excited, like last week and every now and then something shows me like, oh, there's a cool thing that we have directly, this connection we all have directly with our communities. Right. I did the free comic book day this year for Image. It was a I Hate Fairyland free comic book for free comic book day. And we got a bunch of comps obviously here. And so we thought, hey, we'll sign a bunch of these and we'll throw them as giveaways. But Megan ran a giveaway for anybody who bought one of my creator-owned books from the store. Not a Marvel exclusive, not a Batman exclusive or whatever. But if you buy one of my graphic novels from, one of my Image books, then you get a free signed one of these, which are going to be rare because I have not been out there signing these books at all. So we ended up that week, within about 3 or 4 days, selling about 90 graphic novels.
Wow.
Of creator owned. Yeah. And I was just like,
that's awesome.
I just smiled from ear to ear, not because, the money coming in. It's the support for original content and creator owned material that everybody showed up for. And it shows, like, if you build your community and then you provide them with the opportunity to buy your stuff, they'll do it. Like they'll take part in it. And so, again, after watching Jim absolutely crush it on Kickstarter, Shawn's been doing great Kickstarters with art books. Like that community seems so ready for what we're doing. And especially in a time where it feels like, publishing and distribution and everything is in a little bit of a scary place, and printing even, like we're in a weird place in our industry right now. So I think the more control we can have over our own communities is the better.
Oh,
so Skottie, do you think, because in your case, you're such a huge name that in my head, I'm like, okay, Skottie is his own thing. So that's why, I thought that doing, Stupid Fresh Mess was great, because now you have your own distribution channels, so you can do everything in house. But you still think that even for a big name such as yours, it could be bringing more people by using Kickstarter still?
Absolutely. I think, I mean, the thing with my company that we could do so Kickstarter just has such a massive outreach. Like we have a great mailing list, and it's really burst over these last 5 years, but it's nothing compared to the hundreds of thousands of people on Kickstarter's mailing list. And so if they like your book, it's just a way to expand the community. The thing that we have with the infrastructure here that we get to benefit from is after the Kickstarter, we can continue to keep going. Like where a lot of times after a Kickstarter, it's like once that fulfillment's done, then everything kind of slows down to a baseline, and then you're kind of shipping things in and out as they come in. With what I've got going on, once the Kickstarter's over, there's a lot of options. You can do if we do the deluxe version on Kickstarter, we can go to Image afterwards and do the soft cover collection. Mm-hmm. We can do a self-published one here. But the great thing is for the next year, we can run contests, we can run promotions, we can keep that interest level in the book going the way a publisher would. So it's really I think Kickstarter is such a good infusion of eyeballs on projects that while we have a great amount of eyeballs, I'll absolutely run and grab those as well. And I'm sure, Jim, you recently with this have seen your community probably double in just the eyeballs that Kickstarter was able to give you.
Yeah. Doing the Kickstarter and then also getting on YouTube actively, like doing these podcasts. I just started doing my own solo podcast on my YouTube channel, doing deep dives on my books, like doing a stream on how I made the Savage Street Vigilante Kickstarter book. Right. People want all this content and they want the answers of how this is done. So there's like a guaranteed audience for all of this stuff. And it also makes you, the creator, more available to people, where I feel like I'm just directly talking to people now, my fans, people that are consuming my product. And that's the challenge though, as a creator, is like, how much of your time are you willing to give to directly talking to people now? Because now you have comments on YouTube, DMs on social media, emails, handling all the messages on the Kickstarter while it was going on. Luckily, I had my buddy Ross helping me out with that. He did the fulfillment.
Female fans sending you
Female
like, their
fans, the
panties and
8
stuff
by
like
10
that.
scandalous photos to my PO box, yo. It's a lot. It's a lot, Scotty.
Mateo,
Just be
Mateo,
prepared,
you were the
man.
only one that sent Jim your panties. I mean, let's be real.
No, I send in the socks. I started with the socks and see how it goes. If he appreciates it, then we'll go to something more, you know.
I was like, what's this
intimate.
package from Italy in my PO box? What is this? Very
Wait,
strange.
were they the Naples socks?
Yeah, the Naples socks. Actually, I'll start with the socks, then I'll start sending you my toenails, and then we'll go from there. All right, Jim?
This is where Scotty walks away. Thanks a lot. This is where we lose Scotty as a guest now. He's
No, I'm like daydreaming about his socks now.
You need to
Not
send
about my
Matteo.
toenails, though.
You need to send Mateo the stupid fresh mess socks when they're done.
Yeah, there you go.
Really.
We'll exchange socks.
There you go.
or you do a collab where you do the stupid fresh mess socks with the Italian colors ring.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh shit.
I love it.
But Jim, you bring up something that I did want to ask Scotty. Do you find it difficult, or was there a period where it was difficult, where you're trying to like manage the business and have time to do your creative work?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it got to a place because my mind is always thinking about what to do and how to build the blocks and build something. Basically, I've said this before, but like my main goal is just to put myself in a position where no one can fire me. Right. Like,
Yeah.
so if I could just be in a position where I'm in control of whether or not I work or make money or not is the goal. And I mean, it took a long time to get there. I don't want people to be confused that I was like, I set this goal, and on day 5 I had that's what I was, like. But it's that trying to keep making those moves, and it started off as okay, let me do these daily sketches and give people a reason to come to my blog every day. This is long before social media as we know it now, before Twitter, and then it was, let's go. Remember Tumblr was the biggest thing ever. So it was like, get everybody to come to my Tumblr every day. And then you blog readers, which I fucking miss. I
know. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
the Blogspot days.
So
like, fun.
It started as that. And then each time you leveled up, or, each time I would find that level up, you'd be like, oh man, that's another thing now I'm doing. And so I'll try to self-publish this sketchbook or art book. Then you also have to see the ebb and flow of what's happening out in the world, right? Like, because 10 years ago, we could all roll up to a convention with 10 prints and walk away like Rockefeller, right? Prints were the hottest thing ever, right? And now, or even like long before that, it was sketchbooks, right? Like, we all remember the day the fold and staple sketchbooks. You roll up to a con with a new one of those. They're basically like you got a backpack full of money already, right? Like people are just we all ate that up. But at some point, like I could probably pull out my boxes of those, and I'm like, I have 500 of these. I don't even know what to do with them anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the supply and demand, the demand of things changes. That becomes tough because you need to be able to pay attention. So it's very easy for us all to put our head down to a desk and keep drawing and think that nothing's changing out there. But it super does. So yeah, it definitely became harder as each thing became another new thing and another new thing. And then of course throw in today's world where you have to be an entertainer as well. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't scare me, but it is a lot of work. I mean, and you guys know, you guys put the show on. I mean, it looks great. You guys have crushed it. But it is a whole nother aspect of like, keeping up the machine. And so, I mean, my son, my 10-year-old is saying things to me like, when's the last time you put a video on your YouTube, Dad? Like, it's like totally, it's like totally shaming me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know? So it's definitely a hard balance to figure out. And then it became harder for me once writing became a little bit more of what I did on the regular basis versus drawing, because that's just a different mindset. and I'm a little bit taxed in a different way at the end of the day. So after writing for 6 hours, it becomes a little bit more difficult to wrap your head around performing or doing any more kind of content like that, because it's a different kind of muscle. You guys know, and I don't want to belittle what we do, but once you get to a certain point in drawing, it just starts to become like walking, right? Like once you've laid the page out, once you've really worked it out, at that point, you're just kind of breathing. So you can talk to your friends on Zoom, you could listen to a podcast, you can kind of zone out. Writing is very different. There's not as much zone out time during that day. So by the end, I'm like, I don't want to do a fucking YouTube video.
Oh yeah, man. Sure. And dude, you have an interesting technique where you sometimes will go away for a couple days, right? And just write. Like you will check. I don't want to reveal too many of your secrets, but you'll like go somewhere else and stay at a
if I have
Airbnb
like a project
or
if I have like a project coming up, or I really just need to focus, like I'll go grab like a loft downtown for 3 or 4 days and then just like post up there and kind of change my routine, not have any responsibility, things like that. So I'll definitely dive in that way every now and then, depending on what's going on.
Yep. You physically just have to go to a different space, like a different mind state, but also a physical spot where it's like, okay, this is the writing.
You got to change up the environment. Yeah.
Hey, I've thought about that.
Am I cool to go fill up a coffee?
Yeah,
of course. Are you guys close?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be right back.
Skottie, you're back. We have 10 new questions for you. We have a dozen questions.
Let's do it.
I was wondering, so I asked these other two guys over here that, like, have you ever done a Kickstarter campaign before?
No, not yet.
I don't remember any from you, right? Okay,
I haven't done one. So when it first came around, I backed some of those early comic book ones. Jake Parker and I are close friends, and we would during those first 2 years of Kickstarter, I think Jake and I like sat online together on Skype every day, just studying analytics, studying campaigns, like brainstorming ideas. I remember he did his first Kickstarter, and then we talked about it, and then we were like, he and I, like, I kicked her out. I was like, because he had like a print and it came roll, and he had like separate packages. I was like, I think the key is all the things have to be able to go in the same box as this.
Definitely.
And this was at the days where, Kickstarter didn't like factor in the shipping and everything like that. You had to do that math on your own. And people don't remember this probably now, but there was so many campaigns that didn't factor that in, and they would fund, and then they'd get to the end and start shipping and not have done any. And they're like, I watched people have to do a separate campaign to raise more money to ship the previous campaign, which was a nightmare.
Shit.
What a nightmare.
So,
dude, especially when you throw in international shipping, that's where shit gets crazy,
Right. So back then, because I think Kickstarter launched in maybe 2011 or 12ish or something like that, or maybe even 10. But I remember Image still wasn't quite like burst. We didn't have that huge burst yet. Like Chew was there. Chew had a burst. Like it was starting to, the resurgence of Image was just beginning. So I still was a little like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like at the time I was working on the Oz books, I still like, I didn't know what the next stage was, but I knew I wanted to do my own stuff. I still was a little nervous about writing. I still was not sure, like, would you make enough money in Image? All of that stuff. So I thought, Kickstarter it was always going to be my plan. And then I think soon after Patreon started, I remember having a meeting with the creators of Patreon and on those early days, which I never got one of those either. But but I was always like, I'm gonna do a Kickstarter one day, and then things took off for me in a different way and whatever. And now it's almost like I'm excited that I never did it, because I'm gonna have that first one now. As the entire machine now has kind of perfected itself, like. Yeah. It seems so much more thought out and fixed, and all those things like shipping and all that stuff has been included, and there's fulfillment services and the whole nine. So no, I haven't done one, but man, I'm fucking excited to try it.
You're ready.
Yeah, I'm really I totally understand you. Like it's what I'm going to do as well. So I'm super excited to, trying to learn. And I'm sure I'll make at least 5 to 10 mistakes.
Oh, sure.
On the way to do it, but fuck it, I don't care as long as
Skottie,
I'm learning from the experience.
Did you go?
Absolutely.
Did you go from Oz to doing Fairyland as your first creator-owned book at Image directly? Like, was that your first thing with Image?
Yeah, Fairyland was my first thing at Image, but I wasn't. I didn't go straight to that. I was developing it, but still hadn't. I had a couple things that I was working on at that time when I was wrapping up Oz. And at the time, Jonathan Hickman and I were going to do a project together. He and I were cooking something up, and I mean, we didn't have anything deep. So don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like we were like had volumes planned. We were just like, we're close buddies, and we were just like, yeah, we'll do something. We'll do this, and we like this. And I went from Oz to Rocket Raccoon. So I wrote and drew Rocket Raccoon.
Right. Okay.
And
that was huge. Yeah.
That is what gave me the confidence on the writing front, because I was like, I was thrown into it, and I was like, well, like I said yes to this. Now I got to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember you talked briefly about that experience with Rocket Raccoon, especially in the writing side, that you learn a lot from that experience, especially about not having the characters be driven by the story, but having the characters driving the story and moving
absolutely
the story forward.
Yeah, and that came from Sana, my editor. She kept reminding me of that, and but yeah, so while I was working on that, then instantly I was like, this is doable. Talked to Eric over to Image, Robert. They were in on Fairyland right away, and we got that going. And then it just worked. And again, timing was great because, Matteo had paved the way with Rick on Black Science. Jonathan and Nick had just absolutely crushed it with East of West. Saga was going. It was absolutely a renaissance of Image books at that time. Jason, Southern Bastards was out. Like, it was just, Image was just crushing it. So I was lucky enough to get in and kind of ride these guys' coattails and use a lot of the pathway that they had chopped down for that time period. So then that got me focused on that. And the Kickstarter thing wasn't as in the forefront of my mind because the Image was working, and it was like, oh, let me just keep going. And I was always an Image kid growing up. So I was like, this was like a dream come true,
Oh yeah, man.
So, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, doing your own book with the Image logo on it, like, that's a huge, just a cool thing. It's just a crazy thing to see when it comes out.
So, Skottie, I wanted to go back for a second to Stupid Fresh Mess. Yeah. Are you thinking, by any chance in the future, to make it become like a service for other people as well? Because right now what you're doing is basically you're the center of it, and, this structure helps you, spreading whatever you do around in the world. Right. Are you thinking about making it a service available? I mean, I don't know if you can talk about this kind of things. Maybe you're already thinking about it, but you can't.
No. It's definitely been a version of that we have talked about. We've talked about it less as like hiring out the service, and a little bit more of like, would we, add books to the catalog that necessarily maybe I'm not fully hands-on with, like. Would I act as like a producerial type of person where it's like, hey, like, let's brainstorm this thing or whatever. I'll come in and like help this, or, again, just if I'm just being an asshole about it, like lend you my name for a little bit. And then to make sure that we get some really like up and coming cartoonists, like a little brighter stage. Right. We've talked about that. We've definitely talked about it. Again, none of this has been decided, but we've always talked about it in the original art realm, because we are a big stop for people with original art, and so if people work on books with me or whatever, like, that is a situation where it's not as difficult for us just to have other art on hand. But then you get into that hairy area where it's like, okay, now you're going to a con that I'm not going to. We got to ship the shit back, and we're like, we don't really want to be in the art dealer zone. So we've thought about all the versions of it, and what it comes down to basically is bandwidth and like what's fun. Like, we sat down about 6-7 months ago, Megan and I went out for a business breakfast with the intent of coming away with a mission statement, like doing a legitimate corporate level meeting where you decide what your mission statement is. Right. And we came away with that, with, the idea of everything that we choose to do has to bring joy to all of us in this building. We can't just check money boxes, or we can't just check growth boxes. It's very easy to get trapped in like, well, let's grow. Like, we can press this button and the money will go up like this. And then we also have to, this has to go up too. And the work has to go up. And then it's like, are we having fucking fun anymore? Like, we're supposed to be having fun, So then we go like, well, that's not fun, but like socks are fun. We're not going to make $1 trillion off socks, but it's going to be fucking cool to see, Gert head on a sock. And, it's cool. That's kind of where we are on that front, but it's not, we'll never say never to that, but you guys know that the more bodies you start attaching to a thing, the easier it is for things to start falling the fucking apart, And it is difficult. You guys know this is too. You are three such similar, like-minded people that you found each other, and you're like, you guys can vibe. We are the same kind of situation, and we find that anytime that we start trying to expand that a little bit, we're like,
well, you open the doors to whatever, so whatever can mean, and maybe that whatever is not what vibes with you, and then you're in bed with somebody you don't want to be in bed with. So it's and when you get used to like work ethic from a certain type of person or whatever, it's like it's not that we're right and they're wrong, but it's like when you're used to grinding and going, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, let's grow, and then you add 4 people, and they're kind of like, I don't know, I'll be in, maybe won't, and you're like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And man, speaking of that, like with your creative collaborations with the brilliant Jorge Corona, our boy Kyle Strom, Brett Bean on Fairyland in the past. Obviously there's a vibe, not just creatively, but there's a vibe with those guys when you partner up, right, to make crazy shit happen, great stuff happen.
There's absolutely a vibe there. Like, with Jorge, Brett was the only, like, I've known Brett for a long time, like known him, but we weren't like, we were never in a situation to ever have gotten close, and he lived overseas for a while, but I always respected him. And anytime that we'd see each other, it was nice. Like, he was the first person that I've worked with that I was like, I hope we're actually cool. Right. Which we were. He's fucking awesome. But with Kyle, with Jorge, with Aaron Conley, any of these other people that I've collaborated with, we're kind of friends first. So I really understood, like, okay, you're going to be, your work ethic is like this. Your thing is, you just know, and then you feel comfortable. Cause as you guys know, like, you're in a lifelong business with this person now. Like, you're like, you own a small business now with a person, but there's definitely a vibe. I mean, Kyle and I knew each other for years before we did a book together. So that's why we cooked a book up. We're just sitting on a porch and we're like, let's do our version of Fraggle Rock, like a Henson book or whatever.
Yeah. But I love that you saw his sketchbook material and noticed the most exciting, fun stuff was like all the creature stuff.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like, well, let's do a creature book. Like, this is obviously what you want to draw. Let's make that the book.
I think that's one of my it's one of my favorite things to do is when I'm playing just the writer role. And one of the things I think that I'm good at, Megan even said the other day, she was looking at some of the pages that Derek Loffman is doing he's the new artist on Hate Fairyland. And
he's dope. He's really good.
He's so good. And she had commented, and she was like, it's so cool because your scripts you will write to those people. Like Kyle, like, it was like, I didn't say to Kyle, like, I have this idea for a book. Do you want to draw it? Do you want to make it with me? It was going, you seem to really excel and have fun when you draw this. Let's just make a book like that. Like, or, you know, where it's Brett Bean, like Brett Bean is like such a bombastic squash and stretch cartoonist, like real animator.
Yeah.
So all of the story and plot lines that I had for him, I wanted to fucking be so over the top and push it.
Yeah.
And then Derek Loftman is such a classic, you know, cartoonist, and really comes from that comic strip and 80s cartoon era that we all came from. And so video games and movies and all that stuff. So it's so fun to write, you know, like I wrote a dungeon issue where it's like she's going through dungeons. So you have like Indiana Jones references and Zelda references and all this stuff. And he's just absolutely crushing it. And we just did the second issue. He is clearly a big, you know, he has like a knight kind of fantasy book, and it has a lot of like Mignola Hellboy inspired stuff. So I was like, well, fuck it. Let's do a fucking Hellboy parody. Like, let's go for it. We did we do Helicorn, and it's like, we've got a character, you know, like Hellboy is basically Hellboy. Like, it's always like a classic Brothers Grimm fairy tale, and then Hellboy's in it, right? Like, it's like, and Hellboy's smoking and like punching people. And so I was like, well, Fairyland's a great vehicle for that. So I wrote an issue where, you know, a unicorn with his horn taken off, you know, the right hoof of gloom. But I have him going through, instead of fairy tales, more kids. Well, here's the full rub of it. I was trying to figure out, at first I was just going to do visual parody, right? Like, this unicorn, this Hellboy-like unicorn is going to be like punching, you know, fucking elder gods and stuff, whatever, you know, just have fun with the visuals. But then I was listening to a metal playlist, and Korn's Shoots and Ladders came on. And I was like, oh, you know, Shoots and Ladders is just all the darkest nursery rhymes we grew up with, right?
Oh,
like,
right.
1, 2, but, and it's all the ones like, you know, Ring Around the Rosie, Pocket Full of Posies was about people dying of the plague, right? Like, that's like the Pocket Full of Posies was what people walked around with to cover up the stench of the people dying in town, right? So these nursery rhymes were really dark, and Korn has that song, and I was like, I'm gonna have this character just walk through all the nursery rhymes in this Korn song.
Yes, yeah. That's great.
But put a cool like Mignola veneer over it through Derek's eyes, and I felt like it's the closest I've gotten to doing a legit like Mad Magazine level parody comic. You know, where you know, that back in the day where we all, or like, you know, Splitting Image or any of those old, really goofy spoof stuff. Like, I love bringing that flavor of old school comics back. Hopefully Mignola smiles at it. I don't know. He it's cheesy enough.
He'll be fine with it. He'll be. That's awesome, man. Yeah. What the Marvel 80s parody book.
Yeah. There you go. Absolutely.
Silly, weird shit, weird stories.
Right.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say, so since you're sharing these universes with your creators, obviously, like you were mentioning, that includes if you guys get like optioning deals or Hollywood stuff, or that's all part of the package of like, well, this is a co-ownership situation.
Yep. Yeah. It's anything that we've done. So Middle West, Ain't No Grave, Twig, Bully Wars. I think that's all. I think that's everything. Middle West. The Me Love in the Dark. I have one more. All of that is 50-50 down the middle with all of those. You know, we have different situations we have different things in place for how to line that stuff up, just for speed's sake and time's sake, and who's working with who and lawyers and all that fun stuff. But as far as like money and credit and all that, like, it's just right down the middle. And then even when we get into those negotiations, you know, it's interesting because I'm the writer in most of those scenarios. And so they tend to want to always like lean into me as far as like getting more credit or doing this. But what they don't realize is like, I spent most of my career on the other side, realizing that we never get the credit as artists and we never get that creation credit. So I've always fought every time, not that I have to fight that much, because it's just me saying they will get the same. They will, like, if, let's say, for example, if it's a producer credit or executive producer credit, sometimes they want to give one of you the executive producer credit, and, you know, like, they'll negotiate another one down, and they're like, no, we'll both get it, or we just won't do it. Like, It's just
Right.
that simple. Like, also, there's not enough money coming from Hollywood at the moment for us to like start throwing each other under the bus. Like, this isn't back in the day where, they're like
I
writing
know,
you
man.
a
I
check
know.
for $1.5 million. Now they're like, we will option you, we will put your show on Netflix, and we will give you enough to go to a really nice dinner tonight.
Right. That's about it. That's the deal now, where, because you and I have talked about it when we hang out, where it's like,
Right.
do you even get excited about these projects? I mean, it's fine if they option your shit, but it's also like you just have way more control when you do the comic. And for you, it's probably more, it's more profitable when you just do the comic.
It's
right?
It's way more profitable. I mean, the biggest hope that you have now, because I get it, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, for sure. Like, I had friends getting, high six figures, if not pushing the other way. But they were also buying the property, right? Like, it wasn't an option. They're buying the property and now it's theirs forever. And then obviously we've all come into the age of the option, where it's like, we'll rent it for a couple months,
right?
Or we'll rent it for a couple years, and then whatever. And now we're in that option era where it's so low, it's crazy. So I think the best case scenario is that somehow it elevates your book enough to sell more books. And that's why that's why I think it's so important that everybody always make the book you want to make, and not try to make a book that will fit a show or movie first. Like, because the book will live on forever. So make sure you are proud of that piece of art.
That's a great point to make,
that's the
man.
same thing that I got. Oh, no, go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to do one quick thought, which was, that's a great point, Skottie, because it seems so weird and outdated now when you see creators making a book that they think will immediately be turned into a film or a TV show. It's like, dude, that's like 2015 thinking. Like That
it really
what
is.
You just said is key. It's like, make whatever you want to make as the book. And make it fun, put all your heart and passion into it, because the odds of that being turned into something else are slim to none.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had notes. I've had notes, and I won't go into detail on what projects or whatever, but I've had, as I was developing projects or getting ready to go out or getting ready to publish them, but still had room to change things if I needed to, I would get some notes from that Hollywood side to be like, well, what about this? And then this would fit this later. And I was like, oh, no, that's not how this works. Like, I'll just make this thing, and then we'll give you that thing, because I've been in that situation where I'm glad I didn't make any of those changes, because that didn't end up working out. And so I have to live and die with that book and being proud of that book the way I wanted it to be, and take the bad with the good. I mean, if I fucking blew it, I fucking blew it. Right. Like, that's also up in there. But I do think, especially with the nature of entertainment today, there is very, very few places. I mean, obviously there's going to be exceptions, right? Like, Invincible's just absolutely destroying the landscape of animation and doing a great thing by, what I love that's doing is now throwing eyeballs back into comics, which is like a book like Ryan and them doing Battle Beast is fucking, it's sold like 400,000 copies. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they're doing what kind of was said. They're making the exact stuff they want to make, putting it out there, and then it's coming back to comics. And I think that's really what we have to do, because it's so easy. It's so easy for Hollywood to water down your idea and make it palatable for that, but they can't make it cooler. Like, if you've watered it down on your own, I promise you they're not going to make it cooler. Like, it will just
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing that I was saying, like, by talking to veteran writers that have done stuff, for example, with an image, everybody says the same thing. Like, you can have it sold as a movie or a TV show, but still, at the end of the day, what the place where you're gonna see money coming from is still the comic books, because whether, okay, let's say comic books are not selling as much as they were in the past, but still, a comic book is so cheap to make that still, like, the money that you can make out of selling books instead of the money that you have to spend in order to have a movie done or a TV show done. Right now we hear about, some TV shows, they spend like $70 million an episode. Like that amount of money, like you're never gonna make it back by, the merchandise that gets sold or stuff like that. You're making back with the book, as a reflection on the book sales. That's where you see a lot of money, especially if you have a long series. If it was just a mini series, that's different. But with a long series, if you work through, like, let's say 50 issues and up,
right,
the money that you can see from that, it's incredible.
Right. Absolutely.
Where are you at with Fairyland, dude? Like, how many issues are you going to hit? 50?
Yeah.
Soon?
Well, I'm gonna, like, that's, so I can't remember. Did Todd talk about the 50 issue thing on your podcast?
Yeah.
I was doing one of my, I try to walk every morning, and that one helped me stick to my 5 miles that day, but I listened to that one, and he did a bunch at the time. That's why I asked. I was like, I know that I listened to him talk about it. He might've talked about it somewhere, but I remember it being you guys.
Yeah.
And that conversation is what, so Fairyland, I launched Fairyland. I wrote and drew 21 issues on my own, but one of those was a free comic, the I Hate Image free comic book day one. So I did 20 of those. Then I went on hiatus for a little bit, relaunched it like post COVID, and did the new #1 thing so I could get into that retailer exclusive game, which worked because I had like 40 covers or whatever, right, to help get sales and fund the project. And then we did Brett drew 20 more issues, but that was still up to issue 20. But then I was listening to that Todd podcast somewhere around issue 13 or something of Brett's run, and I was like, I technically am on the doorstep of 50, but I renumbered it so it doesn't seem that way. But I was like, I have the perfect book to make a joke out of renumbering.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
And so after I heard Todd on your show talk about like so few, he even said, he goes, we were talking, he said what, like 5 image books he can count that had gotten to 50. And I was like, fuck, I could be on that list. I think, Matteo, I think you were trying to name them and you couldn't get, I think on that episode, you were trying to list the ones that had gotten to 50. And there wasn't very many.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely not.
Right. And so literally your show, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm renumbering Fairyland. And, that's awesome. and that's exactly what we did. And so like, it was perfect timing because Brett, at the time I didn't realize Brett was going to be moving on, but Brett has a creator-owned thing that he wants to write and draw. So we talked about it. So I was like, man, this is a perfect opportunity because Derek had agreed to come on. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is a great time to renumber. So I did the gimmick, the big first issue, but put 40 above it. And then literally, like an old school comic box describing the first exciting issue. But I literally described to you, like, I understand that technically this is supposed to be 21, but it's going to be 41 now because I need to flex that I'm almost at 50.
Yes. Yeah.
So I just wear the truth on my sleeve. And
that's awesome.
So our plan right now is like we're relaunching, right? Or not relaunching, but 41 comes out. I think the FOC for that's May 19th, I think. And then, 3 weeks later, that'll be on shelves. And that's a brand new run with Derek Loftman, who is amazing. And I joke around about this a lot, but I'm not bitter at all that he has way more followers than me on Instagram, which I'm like,
he's got a huge following.
He's got like 390,000 followers. So I was like, I feel like he's slumming it with me on Fireland. So I'm really excited to have him on, and I'll just say it here. I'll lay it out here. He had agreed to come on for like, I think 8 or 9 issues. And we had another friend of mine, a great cartoonist, Jay Fosgett, is going to come in and do some filming.
Oh, Jay's awesome.
He's fucking amazing.
Oh yeah.
He's great.
So he's going to do a couple issues. He's going to be kind of like he's going to be a part of the team as well. But I have enjoyed, Derek has like made me so happy to be writing my own book. Like, he's made me feel so extra about my own project that I literally was like, I don't know, man. Like, it's going to be pretty hard to let you leave this book. Like, I know that you got your own stuff. And he was like, you know what? This is so fun. He was like, and I said, listen, I know no pressure, but it's yours as long as you want it. Like, and so he was like, I'm in. And so right now,
it's awesome, man.
Derek is just going to be the regular artist. Again, with Jay, we're going to bring in Jay, you know, for 2-issue run here, 3-issue, whatever, to rotate in and out. But, which is going to be awesome. Jay's first issue is going to fucking blow everybody's mind. It's going to be amazing. But Derek, so Derek has agreed to kind of stay on for a while. So I'm super fucking pumped because oh, there you go.
Yeah, Jay did a little drawing of me and Zoe from a con.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shawn, where did we see Jay at? Did we see Jay at Dragon Con?
Yeah, Dragon Con.
Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah. I've got a he's done a Fairyland drawing up there years ago. He did. I Killed Giants drawing he did. He's drawn me and my son as well. Like he's
so good.
And I had it's funny because when I left Rocket Raccoon and Groot, you know, the people that I brought on to draw when I was writing it and not drawing it anymore was first off Jake Parker. Jake came on and drew a big run with me, and then it was Brett Bean, Jay Fosgett. Basically, back then, like I was like, let's come work with me at Marvel, and then we did that, and so I brought him follow me over to my creator-owned stuff, so it's cool.
Awesome.
That's your posse, dude. That you're like Mad Magazine, and you have your usual gang of idiots.
There you go. I love it. Yeah.
I'm not saying those guys are idiots. I'm directly referencing Mad. You're a Mad fan.
You need to brand them the stupid fresh dummies.
Yeah, we'll change it that it's the idiot's usual gang. I'll be the idiot, and they're my gang.
Okay. There you go.
I wanted to ask you guys, this is mainly Skottie and Jim. Because, Jim, I remember when you were doing your last Girl Scouts, and you were going to Image, and I was like, I think Kickstarter's the place to go. And you were like, I think Image is better because it'll reach a wider audience. So I'm curious where you guys feel on this now with like a Kickstarter. You're selling maybe not Skottie. You're probably selling less copies, but you're selling more to like rabid fans, and you're probably making more. So how do you feel about that now, Jim and Skottie? What are your thoughts on that?
I'll let Jim go first.
Well, yeah, Shawn, you're totally right. What you just said. I mean, I sold more units through Image, but I actually made more money off a single issue release through Kickstarter.
Right.
So, like, just tallying all the numbers and stuff, Savage Street Vigilante is my most successful financial one-shot comic book I've ever produced in my career.
That's awesome.
So,
That's
but
awesome.
it's odd when you look at the numbers because we sold over 1,500 units, but I still have them here and on my website and at conventions that I'll be selling for the rest of my life. Whereas my last Girl Scout series, the first issue sold 25,000 copies, which for me on my own, just doing my own book, writing, drawing, coloring, lettering, doing everything, keeping all that money myself, I was like, shit, this is a hit. But by the time you get to issue 5, 6, I made the mistake of doing a 6-issue series, which I think is too long. By the time you get to issues 5 and 6, those numbers are really dropping.
Right.
And so you have to accommodate for, you're not making the same money per issue of the series. But overall, man, I'm willing to do less copies sold and make more of a craft boutique item. And it results in me controlling everything and actually making more money in the long run.
And not only
I'm not phasing
Jim,
out Image. It's just for these Kickstarters with these superhero parody books. There she is. There she is.
Hello,
hey,
Megan.
Here, you can have it here.
Oh, I just wanted to say
Can
hi,
you hear?
guys.
What's up,
Megan?
Hey, Megan.
What's
How are
up?
you?
What did you bring
How are
us?
It's
Good,
Pac-Man's anniversary.
Oh,
So
damn.
Pac-Man donuts for the office on Monday morning.
Awesome.
All right.
Hell
sorry.
yeah.
You guys have
I'm sorry,
fun.
I'm just right now.
Bye, Megan.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to be eating those in a minute. Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up.
Right. Those with coffee, you're winning.
This is what happens when you have your own company, guys. Okay.
Right.
There's DJ out there bagging and boarding everything you can see. Yeah, Megan's bringing donuts. John's about ready to be back from Disney World. I got a whole crew out there today.
I love it.
But anyway, Jim, I did love your point, Jim, that it's an interesting thing where numbers look lower, but profits are bigger, and engagement is more powerful.
Right.
Like that's the key.
That's what I'm about to say. Yeah.
Community and engagement are the two most powerful things in our toolbox right now. And we're learning that through the social media situations where, instead of look at when Instagram starts messing with the algorithm, instead of everybody crying about it for a long time, they should just use that as a lesson to go, oh, okay, well now Instagram is a different tool. I'll use it in a different way.
Right.
But now let me get this mailing list going hardcore. Let me focus on a site, a blog at my site or a newsletter or whatever, or a YouTube channel, something that I own all the content. I control the release of the content. And a Kickstarter versus a publisher is a little bit of that as well, right? You're controlling the distribution channels. You're controlling the release and when it is available. Versus like a publisher just telling you this is out of print now. We're not going to go back to print for a little while, or it's going to cost you this much to go back to print because you have to print so many. Versus, like I would say, if I was taking Jim as a case study here with Girl Scouts, let's say, because you have so much content, it seems to me the smarter route for like the compendium. The omnibus, the giant Girl Scouts collection. To me, that makes sense as a Kickstarter book, a big deluxe version of it. I'm not saying that it shouldn't also be at Image at some point, right? Yeah. But that beautiful fucking coffee table version, the one that is the definitive collection of that. Yeah, it's like just you doing it on your own. Speaking directly to those, 30 years of Girl Scout fans, is and feeling that rush, is awesome. And then again, you could always take it other places, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But the thing is like we published the I Hate Fairyland compendium, like the first one, and it collects, my first 2 hardcovers into one big book, right? So it's 500 X pages, whatever, and it's sold decent through Image, right? But it's a slow. You've done omnibuses, Matteo.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. So
it's a slow burn. But flash forward to Stupid Fresh Mess, we order them too, not just comps. Like we order them and get them here because we're going to sell signed ones with like a book plate. In days we sold 200 from here, instantly, no Kickstarter. That's just on a newsletter saying, hey, here's a compendium. And we didn't upcharge it too much past that, but I put a nice book plate in it, we sign it, we throw some stickers in there, whatever.
You made it special.
Make it a little special, but 200 copies. Like I probably couldn't have went around the country that day and compiled all the comic book shops on that Wednesday and probably found probably 200 didn't sell that week in the US. Maybe I could be, by the way, that's a fucking made up stat. I could just be full of shit. That's not saying that comic shops are doing anything wrong. I'm saying that when a comic book shop has a book that costs $50 or whatever,
it's a hard sell.
It's a hard sell. So I'm more talking about that. They have a hard fucking job, especially in this time right now, financially. Right. So that's a situation where because of that, when people who are looking for a Jim book or who are looking for Girl Scouts, they know where Jim is. And if he has a product for them, they're definitely going to go for him. Right.
Yeah, totally.
I do have a cool Jim story that I just, that I had. I ran into somebody at a spot that I go to.
Jim is shaking.
No, it's good. It's good. I ran into
that story or that other story, Skottie, or this other one. So this one you can tell. All right.
Jim has a lot of stories.
Take off some details, and this one you can say
full on. So I ran into somebody, a comic fan, at one of our spots that we go to, Jim, and they were talking, and they said that they had a buddy in town, and all day they were kind of like going around to comic shops in town, and And all day the guy was talking about like how much the story now.
I know
how
now,
much
this
guy
was
like,
so strange. This
is very strange. This is the best.
Yeah.
So this guy's like, he was like, yeah, and my buddy was just like raving about, or no, I think he said, Jim, or he goes, he was raving about Jim and Girl Scouts and how Jim's his favorite creator and he just loves Girl Scouts. He's trying to collect all, and they were going around shops looking for Girl Scout stuff. And Mike was like, our friend was like, yeah, he lives here. And he's like, what? No way. And they literally go into a comic book shop, a random one. Again, I'm leaving names out because I don't want people to know, like, where Jim goes. But they went to a random comic book shop looking for Girl Scouts issues. And absolutely, who the fuck do you think rolls into this comic book shop? It's fucking Jim Mahfood.
Yeah.
That
was funny.
And here's the thing. This is not Jim's regular shop.
Right.
So it's not even.
It was pure random.
It was kismet. Yeah.
Yeah. I drove a half an hour out of my way because there's this great spot for digging that has 50-cent bins. Shawn, I took you there with Justin Stewart.
Yeah, I remember we had a good time there.
So it's like a half an hour out, and I just wanted a calm Saturday, and I put my earbuds in with music.
We all know why you went there because it's close to your favorite gay bar.
Prostitution, also prostitution.
Bathhouse, the bathhouse.
Yeah.
I'm at comic shop. But no, dude, it's funny because I didn't want to really talk to anyone at the shop. I just wanted an afternoon of digging. So I put the earbuds in with music and was like, I got my jams on. I'm going to go in. No one's going to know. The people that work there have never talked to me before. Like they say hi, they're very friendly, but they don't know me. Right. But I walk in, dude, with my music on and I just hear in the background, Jim? I'm like, oh shit. And it's that dude and his crew. And then the guy who was visiting, who was trying to figure out how to meet me was there. Yeah. It was so funny.
But they sang your praises and said you were amazing. And then I bragged on you, and then I was mad that I bragged on you because you are so nice and good looking, and it's so fucking frustrating.
And that's when Jim took him out to his car, popped his trunk. He had a full Girl Scout shop in the car.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He had three actresses out in the car. They got out. They're fucking doing like cosplay posing with pictures.
Jim, I got to tell you, Zoe and I watched your Girl Scout 30-year anniversary stream you put on. It was, first off, dude, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
The whole story, that stream was great. Like what you've done is amazing. Zoe was losing her mind. Like she's like, I knew Jim was great and like popular, but Jim's like a rock star. Like all the iterations.
But it's like,
but dude, when are we going to get the afro in? Because that little commercial, that little bit you did at the party with the afro and the chain, that
from
was
95.
cool.
From
Yeah, that was hilarious.
When are we bringing that back?
Yeah, that I will see how quickly my hair can grow. The part 2 of that video footage from 95 is Mike Huddleston is sitting. Well, we started with Huddleston. I guess we'll end with Huddleston. The camera goes over to him and Mike is also talking about comics, and he's in like a full pimp outfit with a fake gold tooth because we were at a 70s themed party.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
so
amazing.
this footage exists, and anyway, but this isn't our show; it's the Skottie show. So
Anyway,
but Skottie, that's funny that you ran into those guys. It's
he's a
also this is
sweetheart.
a small town. This is a small town. So when I meet Skottie at places in his neighborhood, like everybody knows him. So
I feel like that's anywhere Skottie goes, and if they don't know him, give him 2 minutes, and they're best friends.
Yeah, give me a half hour. I'm in.
It's a good thing you're friendly, dude, because you have to do like the Larry David style stop and chat wherever you go, where you're like,
it's pretty,
another stop and chat, but you're so friendly that you know how to speak to people and you're never rude, obviously.
Well, here's the thing. I am either one end of the spectrum or the other. So it's like, if we want to take a break, we make the mistake sometimes, like, let's walk around the con, and then you just can't, right? You're stopped all the time. But I either have like, I'm in the good mode, or I'm one of those people where my face, I can't make it not be like, I'm not into this. Like, even I'm like, I'll be like, mm-hmm. And everybody that looks at me is like, dude, you got to do better. Like, you really are. You're not hiding any of your emotions up there. It's like I think I'm pulling it off, and they're like, "You're not. You're an asshole right now." Yeah.
All right, let's wrap the podcast, and then we'll do the bonus episode. Right. So, guys, if you want to hear the rest of this interview, get on our Patreon, and you can hear the rest along with a bunch of other cool stuff.
And they can watch. They could watch me eat one of these donuts live on the Patreon.
Oh, shit.
So, Skottie, before we end this, is there anything specifically you want to plug? I remember you talked about the final order cut for Fairland.
Right.
Which is May 19th. So are we gonna make it on time, or maybe we cut this part
this will be out around the time. This will be out around the
Yeah.
time the issue's coming out. So go get the issue.
Yeah. So the FOC's coming up, but that's fine. Yeah, just run out and grab the issue of the stands. That to me, that's as exciting. So, it's the new arc starting up with Derek Loffman, same squad of Jean-Francois and Nate Picos and everybody on board for that. So.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And go to stupidfreshmess.com.
No, it's just SkottieYoung.com.
Oh, SkottieYoung.com is in there. Okay.
And then you're going to go to SkottieYoung.com. Up there, you can sign up for the Stupid Fresh Mess newsletter through Substack, which we put out a lot of. You can either hear me deep diving into process stuff, or finding old artwork, or breaking down cover process or whatever, or Megan doing awesome giveaways and cooking up stuff for the store and for fans. And there's a lot of stuff in the newsletter. I really encourage everybody to jump in.
And soon you'll be able to buy special socks in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I might be able to do a collaboration with you guys with my used socks soon.
You know what? Yeah,
sold exclusively on SkottieYoung.com.
I'll do remarks on Matteo's socks.
I think Skottie got the socks.
That, man. Bring a mask.
Skottie got the idea for socks from Jim's Girl Scouts Magic socks. I think is what's happening here.
There you go.
Maybe. Hey, who
We're
knows?
a bunch of sock fetishists over here.
All right, Matteo.
Sorry. I gotta prepare myself.
What the?
It's gonna die.
Inkpulp podcast.